address an issue about coaching. And although I'm fond of the saying that you are the easiest coach you ever had, um, which implies that it's hard to push ourselves. That's what that implies. And it's a lot easier for somebody standing outside the pain and effort to say, do one more, or take another lap, or put on 5 more pounds. Um, the idea there is simply that it's hard to come up with the drive sometimes. And when you have somebody expecting something of you, it's helpful. However, there is in America, there's a there's an overreaction to that. There is this idea that a coach, if they're a good coach, has to be a tough coach, a hard coach, a mean coach. They have to be so mean that in fact they become hated. And that's how you know if you're a good coach or not, is if your athletes hate you. And that's ridiculous, but it's prevalent. It's everywhere. It goes from the old military school of uh, drill drill instructor attitude that I'm going to break you to make you, and that's not what athletes need. Uh, you don't break people to make them. They're not going to fight a war, no matter how many times you want to try to use the warrior battle mentality with the weight room. You're not going to die if you miss a lift. And you could die if you make a mistake on a battlefield. So I understand that lots of those analogies transfer, but this one does not. It does not. You don't need to break your athletes and make them hate you to be a good coach. And in fact, I know a lot of coaches that take pride. They're actually proud that their athletes think that they're assholes. And the more of an asshole that their athletes think they are, they interpret that as how good a job they're doing. I'm sorry. I'm not going to buy that. I won't swallow. I spit that back out. That's not true in any... And I understand where it comes from. And I understand the mistake that's been made. But it is a mistake. You don't get kids to follow you into hell if they hate you. They follow you into hell if they love you. They'll do anything for you. They'll give you extra if they love you, not if they hate you. If they hate you, they'll do the bare minimum always. And in fact, they'll always try to save a little back from you. They'll just do enough so you stop yelling. That's not how you're going to get the best out of people. That's not how you're going to get the extra effort out of people. So let's dismiss this idea that to be a good coach or to be an honest coach or some not, you can put any kind of nonsense you want. If you're treating people bad, you're treating people bad. You can say, well, they need a kick in the pants. Maybe that's true. That's okay. Kick them in the pants without demeaning them. Yeah, give them a little push. Give them a shove. Be a hard coach without being a mean coach. Those two are not mutually tied together. They're not. One does not follow. It's a non sequitur. There's a way to have high expectations for your athletes and for yourself without the bullshit, the judgment, the anger. So I want to address the fallacy of that. That if I'm a good coach, I'm going to make my kids angry at me. And that anger will fuel their motivation. Now that's true. It happens. I've been on the receiving end of that plenty. I grew up in the 70s and 80s being coached by guys that weren't very good coaches. They had good intentions, but their only role model for a coach was their coach. And ultimately it's that drill instructor mentality where you grab a kid by the face mask and you kick him around and you make him mad. And that anger fuels his motivation. Well, first I will submit that that's not real motivation. Anger it's an ersatz motivation. It's not real motivation. If you make a kid mad by telling him he can't do something, and then he, quote unquote, proves you wrong by doing it, he didn't do it for himself. He did it for you. It wasn't his goal. Wasn't his goal, not his victory. Now, you may have got what you want, and if your goal is to stay in possession of your coaching job, you need to get some wins. I understand that, but that's not real coaching. That's just you maintaining your status as a coach, your job. That's job preservation. That's not coaching. That's not building kids up. So this method, while I see it a lot, is it's only a shadow of what you can get out of the kids. If you're using that method of being mean and being tough, there's nothing wrong with being strong. You can be a strong coach. And you can be hard on your kids. And you can demand a lot and expect a lot. That's fine. I'm talking about this nonsense that you're portraying an unlikable persona in hopes that that angers your kids enough so that their anger will drive them to put forth extra effort. It may, but when they do, it won't be because they wanted the goal. It was because they hated you and they wanted to show you that you're an asshole and they can do it anyway. And if you think you're using some sort of clever reverse psychology on them, you're not. You're not. You're just a fool. And I have no trouble telling you that because there's a better way. And we've known about it. We every dog trainer, every teacher, every parent, every coach who has done their homework since the late 90s knows that positive motivation will get you farther. And if your goal is to go as far as you can with your kids, to get the most out of them, not just to win this game, but if you want to go far with your kids, with yourself, with anybody that's involved in your coaching attitudes, you need to let go of the negative. You need to let go of the hard ass, the drill instructor. You need to absorb and embrace the positive motivation. That's where it's at. And when you get a kid to love you and respect you, and don't think that they won't respect you if you're good to them. They will. They will. And they'll be begging to do more for you. They'll say, okay, Mr. Blakely, now what? What else can I do? Instead of, are we done yet? Jesus Christ, I want to get out of here. I want to get away from you. I hate you. They'll come to you for more. And you can give them more if it's warranted. That's the only way, though, to get the most, to get to the farthest levels, to get to the farthest points of their ability. You can't use negative. You have to use positive. And I can go on and on about this, but I'll wrap it up here by saying that don't fall for the old way of doing things just because it's been done for a long time. The truth is, that's the really old way. The way we've been doing it well now for quite some time, a couple decades now, is we've been using positive motivation. We do that with dog training. We do it with child rearing. We do it with teaching. And we should be doing it with our coaching as well. It is okay to be tough and strong. It is not okay to be mean and demeaning and cruel. If you think you can match the results of building a kid up and teaching him self-confidence and to believe in himself and to trust himself by doing it, by beating the shit out of him, by beating him down, then you're simply wrong and mistaken. And the proof is out there. If you cared enough to check me on this, you can do the research. But it stands to reason and common sense that this is the way to do it. Let's put the science aside. And let's start embracing a more positive approach to coaching ourselves our kids, our peers, and everyone that we're associated with. I guess there's an old saying that I'll leave you with. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And you motivate more kids and people and yourself by being good and honest than you do by being a complete dick. So there's a few things to think about. And I wanted to bring that up because it came up in my life recently. I saw a coach with this attitude. And I shook my head. Hasn't he been reading anything at all lately? So think that over. There has to be a part of you that's tough on you and demands a lot. But he doesn't have to be cruel or mean at all. And think about how you balance out those two ideas in your own training and your own approach to things.